had a very good first half defensively for Tulsa. He looked good last week.
Not once has there been an OKC player there to make contact with it. It's always been Matt Sheldon.
As Sheldon, what a performance for him defensively. He'll come out. Some high fives from his teammates.
What's up, Sam?
Here he is. How are you, man?
I'm great. Sorry about that. That's my fault, guys. I had a little Zoom meeting with the team, so just ended literally 2 minutes ago.
That's all good. Can you address anything there, or do you want to talk about that after?
It's a lot of just like because it's like nobody knows when any league.
Right. No one has a clue.
So it's very good. I'm really happy with FC Tulsa because like our owners and everybody have just been so like reassuring to us. But in terms of like definitive answers of like when we can start team training, when the season's going to start up, what the season's going to look like,
no clue.
Still, no clue at all. But I mean, we've been getting really good news in terms of like our contracts and training and stuff like that.
Good.
So yeah,
that's good news, man. How are you? Aside from, well, I suppose that's all that's going on. But how's it been going, man?
No, it's been good. It's been good. I'm just happy that now, like the gyms are like, at least in Oklahoma, gyms are opening up and like our facilities are open. So at least like getting into the field's been really good. But I've been California's been pretty rough though, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I've not been training this whole time on field, but I kind of needed that time. We kind of spoke about it. I kind of needed that little break anyway, so it came at a good time for me. I'm ready now to sort of go back, but like I said, you just got to adapt to what's going on, and at the moment, we're not supposed to be out there, so I'm not going to be out there until we get the green light.
Yeah, definitely. But it's tough. I mean, it's so tough. Even like, I mean, it's really good to make like a good time to like help players that are all stuck inside for all the content and stuff. But
right,
it's tough. I mean, even doing the own workouts and trying to have motivation to do everything, it's really.
But I mean, at least there's people out there like, you know, yourself and Jack and, you know, Eric, Friedlander and all these guys putting stuff out for the kids. Imagine if we didn't have that, you know, kind of blessed to, no matter what goes on, there's still stuff that you can do to help, which is, you know, all we can really do at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
All right, man, we'll get into it. What we'll do is we'll kind of go through your story, kind of all the way from your youth through college, dropping out, and then going to Europe, and we'll talk through all that. We'll talk a little bit about mentality, dealing with injuries, and then we'll kind of do a Q&A for everyone at the end. So just on your own time, let us know kind of, for anyone that doesn't know, what how it all started for you, how your career started.
Yeah. So like in terms of like my career, should we like become late first or?
Whatever you want, man. You can start wherever.
Yeah. So pretty much like to sum up, if you guys have never heard of me at all, my name is Matt Sheldon, and I'm a professional soccer player here in the U.S. I've played in a couple different countries, but I also run Become Elite, which is just kind of like a YouTube channel trying to, and I guess other Instagram and TikTok and stuff like that. But it's just kind of like trying to show the behind the scenes of what it takes to be a professional soccer player with my own workouts, trainings, and everything. But yeah, I mean, my main thing, I always look at myself as mainly I'm a professional footballer who tries to show the behind the scenes of it, you know.
Which is super helpful for everyone out there. And I was going to say to you, kind of like, you're one of the guys that really started the wave of that. There's a lot more pros now out there from the lower leagues to the Premier League that are starting YouTube channels now and showing behind the scenes of their lives. So it kind of, you were way ahead of the curve on that front, you know. It was, well, how long have you been on YouTube now? 3, 4, 5 years?
Yeah, it's been almost 5 years, I think. So
wow.
I pretty much kind of saw that because I saw starting with the fitness community, you know, first, like everybody vlogging and showing behind the scenes of weightlifting. And I love those. I love obviously fitness and working out. And so I kind of like thought like, oh wow, there should be more soccer players that do that. And then I kind of
back then that wasn't, was there 5 years ago?
So I was like, why not? Why not be the, you know, start vlogging and start trying to do it.
Nice, man. So let's kind of touch on your college and then professional journey. Talk us through kind of how college went at UC Davis and then how everything transpired, you going to Europe and that whole journey, if you like, your story.
Yeah. So I definitely was like a very late bloomer, both like physically and as a soccer player. I played all the different sports. So I didn't have like a shred of like recruiting, development academy, or like ODP even back then or anything. So I didn't really
a lot of the questions that
summer going into my So it's like I pretty much just kind of like just did a whole bunch of my own training, own workouts, own everything. And but then I basically did some ID camps and just emailed coaches. And then luckily enough, I got some interest for myself from just pretty much just hard work of just sending out really good emails, attending ID camps, just doing the dirty work that, you know, most players kind of like want other players or other people to do for them. I just did it all.
Yeah.
So it worked out, and I went to Davis, and I had an amazing 4 years there. I think that's where I really like I said, late bloomer from like 19 to 22 was when I really developed in my body, developed as a player, kind of combined my athleticism with like my technical side of the game, and had like I played in every single game my college career, played some PDL, and just had a very successful 4 years there.
Nice, which is, you know, maybe something you didn't expect as a 14, 15-year-old, where you were way behind a lot of players, like you've said multiple times. It's good to touch on this because a lot of the questions I get asked, I'm sure you get asked all the time. I'm 16, I'm not in the academy system. Can I still be a pro? And, you know, the answer is just yes. You've just got to put the work in and believe in yourself. So
yeah, and then also like,
oh, go ahead.
Oops. I was going to say, just also recognizing that you are like, if you are a little bit behind now, that you just have to work harder to like catch up and pass people, you know,
exactly.
Like it's just recognizing that, because a lot of people are like, oh, I'm behind, and then freak out and not do anything about it. Like you have to freak out about it and channel it to like your training and your workouts and everything, you know?
Exactly. And like I said, I just think it's super important to highlight that. And that's why, you know, originally I was so, inspired, I guess, by your story that, you know, nothing was handed to you ever, even up until now in your career. You've had a bunch of up and downs, and you can make it work with hard work and sacrifice and, you know, a belief in yourself. What I was going to ask just then was there any point in your career where you actually thought, yeah, I am good enough now, I think I'm ready to take steps to the next level? Or were you always kind of on the fence with the whole where you were at?
I always think, like, people ask me, I'm sure you get the same questions too about confidence, but confidence is such a hard thing, because I think so many kids struggle with it. And I mean, I struggled with it too.
Me too.
I think it's so hard, because it's like about experience, and the more you play and the higher levels you play at, and the more literally years you have playing it, the more confident you are. You know, now me going into a professional trial in the USL at 28 with 5 years in the USL, I'm so much more confident now than I was very first trial, where I was just completely just freaking out.
Way off it. Yeah.
So
like you said, it's from experience for sure. You've been there before, and you've been in that situation, so you kind of grow from that, you know.
Yeah, so I think it was almost like a gradual, I always say it's so like baby steps is like pretty much like the theme of my channel, like making baby steps. But like my confidence grew in baby steps, and I never made a huge leap. It was like, you know, high school soccer, varsity soccer, to the top club team in my state, to let's go D1. And then it was like D1 into like the San Jose Earthquakes U23. And then into like Germany. So it's like all these little confidence baby steps where I'm like, okay, I'm doing well at this level. I'm confident that I can at least, you know, hang with everybody else at the next slightly higher level, you know?
Exactly. And again, it's like a ladder, if you like, where people are like, you know, I'm 15, I'm playing for this club. How do I be a pro? And it's like, don't think about, like you said, don't think about being a pro. Think about becoming the best player in that team, moving to a better team, becoming the best player, getting a college scholarship, becoming the best player, and just think about it like a gradual ladder, which is something that people can't really, it's hard for them to compute, because they just see the end goal and they don't see all the steps in between. So again, it's just important to know that it's such a gradual process to get there.
Yeah, definitely.
So you went to Davis, had a great career there, obviously grew as a person, as a player. I'm sure you kind of grew maturity-wise on the pitch and off it. How was it to forego college? Basically, you dropped out and you didn't finish college. And what went into that decision? How did that come about, where you thought, I'm just going to go for it?
Yeah, I mean, you've been through the college system in America, you know, like it's very, it's a balance. Like it's 50-50. You're a full-time student and a full-time soccer player. And it's great in so many aspects, because you can continue kind of like doing both at the same time. And I think that's awesome. And I think it's very rare elsewhere in the world where you have that. So I loved it. And I was continuing I had two plans. Obviously, the goal was always MLS, draft, you know, try to be a pro soccer player. But I also was like trying to be a student. And I think, again, as each year in college, freshman year, I played in every game, started to get some goals in. And then as I played for the San Jose Earthquakes U23s and really started to build up that confidence of like, look, I've been succeeding at the D1 and the USL League 2, the PDL. I think I can at least hang, you know, really hold I can compete and do well at the next level, the USL, and maybe even have a chance at the MLS. So I had that confidence from building up those small little steps in the ladder.
Right.
So I pretty much just kind of was like, yeah, I want to take this chance because I knew that this would probably be my last chance if I stayed in school, stayed there for a full another year to finish my degree. I knew my workouts would start to slip. I knew I would stop training too much. I knew I would start to lose motivation. So I kind of just did a now or never. I'll give it 2 years and we'll see how it goes.
Which again, though, that's pretty amazing to take that risk, huge risk. No real idea of whether it will come off or not. But like you said, those sacrifices are things that you kind of got to take in life. I'm sure you weighed it up and made an educated decision on it, but at the same time, still such a tough thing to do. So you make that decision, and then talk to me about how kind of Europe came about. How were you kind of at that point mentally? I know you felt ready to play. How was it actually going to Europe, dealing with the culture shock there, totally different world, different environment, different language? How challenging was that for you to kind of adapt to, as well as the football?
Yeah, I think the culture shock of it really going from, like, even in college, it's very, very serious, but it's still not your whole life, you know?
Right, yeah.
It's still like a very friendly environment. New players come in and they're welcome with open arms. You're part of the family. And so it's a big transition from that, even to lower leagues elsewhere, of it being of like, this is our job now. You're coming in, you're going to take somebody else's job, or at least even part-time job. You're going to take somebody's money away from them. So especially in Germany, where people are very, stern and reserved, open, welcome arms type people.
Who's the American guy?
Yeah, which I really liked, and I think because there was just what you see is what you get. Nobody's gonna lie to you. It's very straightforward over there, much like England. It's not as like in America. So I liked it, but it definitely was hard to walk into some locker room sometimes, and just people would be like, kind of like look at you and not even say hi. So I think that was hard, and I think also just the whole culture shock of, like, you're there by yourself. I had a mentor, Marcus Patellar, who, like, took me everywhere and gave me trials, and he helped me out and communicated to me. It's so much easier for me. But it many times you're spending a lot of alone time, and I think that's, people talk about the mental side of the game so much, not only having the technical skills, but having the mental toughness to be like, I'm going to ride this out for 3 months, bouncing around, doing all this, and just easily book a ticket back home, finish out college, get a good steady paying job in California.
Yeah. 100%. And I've been through that as well. When I first came to the US, it was tough for me. And I came out with a buddy, he left, and my mum was calling me, like, because I was like, well, I want to come home, can't do it. She just told me to stick it out. And then, like you said, those are the things that really do make or break you as a person. And from there being, you were still 21 or 20, early 20s, I was 18, and you just grow so much from that as a human being and as a person, which obviously sets you up for all those things you're going to go through in the future. But yeah, not easy at all to settle into a new country at such a young age. But again, that must have made you so much stronger when you went through all the trials and tribulations that came later in your career.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, even now, like, I'll sign somewhere early on where I don't have to go through the trial process. Like, for example, when I went down to New Zealand, and even going to New Zealand, it's across the world. I mean, and I was like, wow, this is so easy. I already have a contract. The people speak English here. I don't have to bounce around and sleep on a $20 Airbnb. Like, this is a piece of cake. And, like, it was just funny how going through that, now I look at that contract in New Zealand is like, wow, I'm getting hooked up here. This is easy.
Yeah, because it's not usually that easy, is it?
Yeah.
At all. So let's kind of touch on the mental side that we just kind of like nabbed on right there. Was there any points? What was the hardest points in your career from a mentality standpoint? And like you said, those experiences are probably what shaped you. But when was it really, really the toughest for you? And how did you kind of get through it? It could have been the injuries or the contracts where you weren't sure about. How did you get through that? And because I'm always asked about mentality, I can't seem to be strong on the pitch. I get down when I make a mistake. How do we kind of shake that and develop a strong mindset? Yeah,
I'm going to credit Michael Cunningham with this. I just did the podcast with him. A great guy, but he said something that, like, if somebody will say something that always just, like, resonates with you, and he basically said that he pretty much said that the mind and gaining mental toughness and doing all this is just like any other muscle in the body. You know, if you want to get stronger in the gym, you have to put it through stress and to basically hurt it in the short term so that it grows stronger. And like that's like with the mind. I mean, like when it came to injuries, my first sports hernia wrecked me mentally. I had sleepless nights. I was debating if my career was over. I thought that if there's any way I'm going to bounce back. The second sports hernia, I was like, oh, no big deal. Like,
I remember that. Yeah. You were like, I've been through this. I can deal with it.
Yeah, people were messaging me like literally like this completely down, like I can't believe this happened again, like you must be crushed. And my whole mentality like no, I'm good. As soon as I get it, 6 weeks I'll be back playing, and that's exactly what happened. But I had that confidence and that mentality because I went through that before. And the same thing over in Germany, after bouncing around for so long and basically going like almost a year and a half without a contract, and then I think finally getting one contract offered in the 4th division over in Germany, and then having it taken away by the sponsor. Again, like I just been through so many failures that then later on down the road, when I would go through periods of free agency or, you know, rejections, I'm like, oh, whatever. I've been through a year and a half. So this 3-month span is nothing to me. So it's like what Michael Cunningham said of like, you kind of like go through it. It's like bad games. How to get over a bad touch, a bad pass. Well, you have that one game where you cost your team the game, you know, you're the and then the next after that, you're like, okay, this one bad pass isn't the end of the world.
Right. Yeah, no, it's so true what Michael said. So true. And like they always say, those people that have been through the hardest challenges in life, they're the ones that are the strongest and that can kind of cope with it moving forward. So they're what really what shaped you, like you said, as a person, as a soccer player. And you can kind of like, that's what I love about you sharing those experiences with people, because a lot of stuff that you see on social media is just, you know, the highlights of people's lives, and that's not what people want to see. They want to resonate with people that are going through what they're going through, and it's just so important to share that with the players that are trying to come through.
Yeah, it's definitely as hard sometimes though when you're in a low period, you're not feeling good, and to literally pick up the camera and be like, here's what's going on. Like that's tough. It is tough.
But that's why people love your channel so much, because they resonate with that, because, you know, it's like having someone there to help them through it. Like you said, you had a mentor, and that's kind of what you are to these people out there, which is, I know they're so thankful for, and I love what you're giving to the soccer community as well.
No, I appreciate that.
Of course, man. So let's talk about kind of how it went in Germany, and then obviously coming back and signing that first pro deal in the US. How did that feel when you accomplished a lifelong goal like that? How did you keep your mentality focused? Like, you know, I'm going to try and strive to be better than achieving this and get more contracts, to a point where, because you could have been, oh, I've accomplished my goal, let me just chill and enjoy this, you know?
Yeah. Because I signed in Germany for like a 6th division team after the 4th division team pulled out. So like, and, you know, in 6th division in Germany, you get paid. I got housing. I was like a foreigner. They helped me a lot, but it definitely was like a very semi-professional contract. But in America, we kind of view anything where you get paid $1, you treat it as a pro. So I considered like, okay, this is a good first step. Yeah. But I was like, okay, this is a good first step, but like I haven't signed in that fully pro league yet. And that was my goal. I thought the next, you know, little baby step up from that step that I just did in Germany was the USL. Now, the original plan was after that season was to spend the entire next season with that 4th division team that rescinded the contract. They pretty much said, we'll have you back in the following year. So play with that 6th division team. We'll have you back. And so that was my plan. I had basically not signed a contract, but that the coach had been very upfront with me about that. Like I said, very stern and very upfront. But then in the off season, I got a text from a DM from Ivan Mirkovic over at Orange County Blues, who I'd trained with back in Sacramento Republic. And he pretty much just said that they're looking for a right back. And I saw that, like, I could go there for a week, get the trial in. If it doesn't work, I'm back in Germany. No harm, no foul. And if it does work, then I pretty much just skip an entire year and kind of like skip up a step on my like goal, like envision of my
ladder.
So I was like, okay, I'll go here. I'll try out. The first day, it's so funny. You go in on a trial, and I almost feel like the first training session, within the first 30 minutes, you can tell if it's going to be a good one, a bad one, what the coach is feeling. If you go up to the coach, he's like, who are you? What's going on? Or if it's like, Matt, so excited for you to get here. So I had that vibe of like, this is going to be a good trial. I performed. I played very well. And then I think after the second or third day, the coach, Barry Venison from Orange County, said, yeah, we want to sign you. And so I was very excited, but I had so many contracts taken away or rejected. I pretty much was like, okay, yeah. I stayed very neutral. We'll see how it goes. And then finally I got the contract and I almost couldn't believe it. And I signed it. And I've said to you before, and I've said many times, is like, it was this crazy, weird mixture of I've accomplished what I've literally set out pretty much my entire life to do.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I felt like this was just another little step. And it just opened the door to everything else that I wanted to accomplish in the future. So it was that weird mix of like, so happy for myself. But at the same time, all I was thinking about was, okay, we have practice, we have training tomorrow morning, and I want to try to start this to get this game on the weekend.
Yeah, I want to do well. Yeah.
So it's very weird. It's not what you expect.
No, yeah, and it's just like, so that's a mentality that you developed on the journey of going through all that stuff. Because you, like you said, if you didn't go through all that stuff before, achieving that contract would have been cool, but you would have just, this is what I'm supposed to do. This is normal. I was supposed to get this. And then because you had to work so hard for it, that's why you had that mentality.
It's almost like, I almost relate it too with like social media. Like when you reach a milestone with social media, when you just pass like 45,000 on Instagram or 40,000, you get there and you're like, yes, finally, that looks cool. And then you're like, okay, how do I get to 50?
Yeah. What does it really mean? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
you just like you said, you just keep doing the same things you've been doing and keep trying to step up the ladder to success, and it's just awesome. So talk me through that first year with OC Blues. I know you had a good year and you played a bunch, but at this point you're a right back, right? So let's just quickly touch on that. How did you kind of go from right mid? Because I know you're always a right midfielder most of the time in college, right? So talk me through that transition to becoming a pro and actually playing in a different position to you played your whole kind of youth career and college career. How's that?
Yeah, it was very weird, but I also got kind of like preparing for it, because in college, my head coach at college, Dwayne Schaefer, he pretty much told me from the minute I came in that I would make a good right back. And he kept on saying it, like, I see you as a good right back. I see you in the next level as a right back, but you can help us and score goals up top. You're fast, you're athletic. It really fitted the forward in the collegiate system.
In the pod,
yeah. So because I would make those runs in behind all the time, like, over and over and over
again.
Yeah. And most of my goals were headers or tap-ins. I never like was doing the crazy.
Just from those deep runs getting down the wing,
Yeah. So I kind of had it in my gut too that I wasn't going to play as a striker. But then I went to the San Jose Earthquakes again. And I played striker and right mid and did well. What's that? Sorry.
Striker as well. It's just nuts because like whenever we've played, I'll just never see you as a striker. I just ever. To me, you're just a defender. Like, I've only seen you as a defender. So I'm like, man, he used to be a striker.
Yeah. I played very. Yeah, I definitely didn't conform to the normal striker. I was very, very just send the ball in and I'll fight and try to win a header or something. But so like in college and like especially I was getting towards the end, I was playing like with the San Jose Earthquakes U23s, and then in Sacramento I started doing like trying to train as a right back, and I played an entire season with Ventura County Fusion as a right back. So I was learning. I felt like I had a good grasp of it. I was training with the Sacramento Republic and learning from their right backs, just kind of like getting versatile and like learning. Went over to Germany. What's that?
Preparing for what you were going to maybe experience in the future.
Yeah, and I thought worst case scenario, I'd just learn a new position, and when I become a coach, I can teach a right back a little bit, like the stuff that I know.
Exactly.
And so I just kind of like stayed open-minded and did it, and then over in Germany was like, okay, well, they kind of still saw me as a right mid. So I played right mid there, did well, had like 3 goals and a couple assists, and then but then they were looking for the right back, so I just immediately just switched in my head, like I'm going to try to play right back now. And I came in as a right back, did it. And I had all that experience training with Sacramento Republic and playing with the Ventura County Fusion as a right back. I really just was like, just be confident with yourself. And then, because each coach is going to want you to play a little slightly different way.
Right.
Just be confident, pretend like you're playing it your whole life. And then if the coach likes your general style, he'll tweak and change little things about the positioning, and it worked. Right. And I kind of like just kept on learning as I went on. And I'm still even learning stuff at the right back. So it's still an ongoing process, and I think it's really good. I sometimes think about like, wow, what if I was a right back the entire time? But I also think, well, I wouldn't have to learn differently, like different skills that I have now as well.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think it's so important to be versatile as a soccer player from a young age, to be able to play multiple positions. You know, every kid out there just wants to play forward or, you know, centre mid, or if there's a position you're good at, yeah, have that, but learn other positions as well. It just gives you such a better tactical understanding of the game. I didn't do that till really, really late in my career. I wish I'd done it younger. So like you said, it's helped you, and you've honed in on that role, and now you're right back at a professional club, which imagine if you hadn't started working on it even at Sac Republic. Imagine if you were like, nah, I'm a winger, you know, I'm a striker. Think how you wouldn't have been able to make that transition.
Yeah, it'd be a very crazy. Like, always to think about that. Like, it'd just be so insane if I was like, no, right mid, or striker.
Right. With
I wonder if
some players are like that.
Yeah. I mean, and it works. I mean, there's better players than me have only played one position their entire life, you know. But it's not going to hurt you to learn another position and to gain a skill set.
Even if you're not going to play there, just to understand the field a bit better from a different perspective, 100%. So you're at OC, you have a great year. Let's kind of continue up the ladder, talk about how it came about. You got a better contract at St. Louis. You know, you did really well, and you managed to secure a better contract after OC. So let's talk about how that kind of progressed.
Yeah. I played like every game in Orange County. It was amazing. I mean, your dream rookie season to come in and just get thrown in the starting lineup, and made it into the playoffs. So I definitely had a lot of interest after that season. And I found out too, like at the same time, I think I was always really good at like never getting like too big headed. Like once you start to get a little bit of success, being like, oh, now I'm looking for that, you know, 10 grand a month contract.
You've never been like that though, but I understand what you're saying. Players would, you know, have a good season. Like, where can I go to get the most money? Let me get out. That is the mentality for a lot of players, especially, you know, in the USL. There's not that much money flying around. When there's a contract, people are trying to go for it, and it's not being greedy at times. That's just, you know, the reality of the sport here in the US. But yeah, you've never really been like that, so it doesn't surprise me how you weren't like, give me a contract.
I still am like, wow, I still can't believe people are sending me money to play soccer. I still
exactly. It's amazing.
So I got the better contract offer in St. Louis, and it was actually with the coach from Sacramento Republic, Preki, just got the job at St. Louis. So he kind of like saw my progression up. He saw my growth as a player, and somebody who previously had rejected me had then recruited me to come join his team. So
how awesome does that felt? Yeah,
it was great. It really felt like, you know, I proved it with not only another coach, but somebody who also had said no to me. So that felt great. And so I was really excited. I worked so hard in off season to work on like some of my weaknesses. And then just that year, 2017, was just the worst year for me in terms of injuries. It felt like it was one of those years, every player has one, but it felt like every other week, a little minor problem was coming up until finally the sports hernia ended the rest of that season. So it was like I dealt with an ankle injury, patellar tendonitis, muscle strains, groin strains, and then finally the sports hernia. And it just felt like I felt like every week I was fighting through pain.
So go into that a bit, because you've gone from, you know, accomplishing another amazing goal, and then boom, straight back down to earth. Now you're injured. Talk to me about how that was to deal with mentally. You said, was this the first one?
Yeah.
So talk to me about how that was. It's something you've not really experienced before. How did you overcome it? You know, it must have been so tough for you. Injuries are just awful.
Yeah, because especially for me too, like, it's kind of funny, like during that season when you throw your life on YouTube, people are like, oh, wow, you're so injury prone, you know, because like I would talk about it openly about when I sprained my ankle. And like before that, like this was my first even kind of like muscle strain, really. The entire career through college, through PDL, through Germany, everything up until 24, I never had an injury that put me out for more than a couple weeks, you know? And I played through every college game, I was like, people were like, oh, even joke about me that I was always there at every training. And then just that one season, whether my workouts were off or I was imbalanced or whatever.
Do you think it was that maybe something you did, or maybe surely it was just misfortune? You know, you're a machine. It can't have been the stuff you were doing that you'd always been doing. Do you think it was maybe?
So this is my theory on it. Like, I'm not a doctor, but this is my theory. I think that in that off season, especially if you go back and watch my off season series, I was just so obsessed with like progression. I always loved lifting heavy. But I think I reached that point where it was a little bit too much, getting 300 pounds on the back squat. And it kept my muscles strong, and I felt so explosive and so powerful. but that led to overuse injury in my patellar tendonitis. So in my patellar tendon. So I started getting patellar tendonitis. So
maybe that you're saying maybe that was the domino.
Yeah,
because I understand.
Because then I got that in December. I took off pretty much all December and January to let that heal. But then I stopped working out entirely. I go into preseason, and the first week I got my first groin strain, you know? So because
so maybe it did.
Yeah, so because it's like it was probably weak, but then also like ankle sprains and doing some stuff. Like I feel like I had some I dislocated my toe in one of the trainings. So it's like stuff
bad
like
luck as well. Bad luck mixed in with maybe a bit of overtraining at times.
Yeah, so like patellar tendonitis and it was definitely overtraining. The groin strain definitely because like undertrained right before heading into preseason.
Yeah,
the ankle sprains and the dislocated toe, bad luck. And then the sports hernia, again, I just think that it's very hard when you're going out a week, back in a week, out a week, back in a week. Your body is not 100%. And I think that, again, I wasn't doing all the prehab stuff I'm doing now, had the injury. And then mentally, I was ruined. I'm like, wow, my body I've reached my limit, you know?
Yeah. But again, maybe a blessing in disguise. You know, you're not going to do that again. You start to think more about your recovery. I'm sure you're even more diligent now about making sure that doesn't happen. And maybe, I mean, I'm certain that you've used it as a positive because you were still young and you didn't know that was going to happen, you know?
Yeah, because I mean, I'd worked out like that from 14 until 24.
Yeah.
So with no problems at all, only feeling great every single day. So I thought I would never feel any different, you know?
Right. And then your body was just like, nope, you're going to have to kind of come back down to earth here.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so let's talk about how you overcame that. And then we'll kind of just talk about your kind of progression up to Tulsa today. Because, you know, your story is a pretty amazing one. You've gone from, you know, sleeping on a floor in Sacramento to, you know, playing against Kaka for St. Louis. It's like, you know, you've gone from here to here in not that long a space of time either. So just talk about how it culminated to come through St. Louis, getting over the injury, and then we'll talk all the way up to today.
Yeah. So basically with the injury, it was terrible because I went through like 3 months of like, because it just like figuring out what it was because people kept
I remember I was watching the series. I remember watching it.
Yeah. So it was very frustrating. And I kept on getting told like it was a strain, but I've had muscle strains before. And like I said, they'd get better in 2 or 3 weeks. And this is month 3 now. And I felt the same exact, and I kept on getting x-rays, ultrasounds, MRIs. And finally I got the diagnosis as a sports hernia and I needed surgery. And I remember that day after 3 months of just wasting time, it felt like getting that. Like I went to train and I was like in the field because when I heard it, I got a phone call. And I just like broke down like at the training field. I just was like, people came over to me like, what's going on? Like, I was like, I
just wasted so much time.
Yeah. Yeah. And I never had surgery before. So like, again, like you kind of go through that. The first time you're freaking out. I had no idea. I've heard that surgery makes people never feel the same after. I got it all through off season, pretty much did the full rehab program. And then as I'm coming back through that rehab program, I still am having the same pain in the groin. And the abdominals is better, but I'm still getting that sharp shooting pain down the groin. And I'm talking to the doctors. They're telling me I'm not sticking to the rehab program. And you know, I track every.
You are, yeah. I'm sure you did exactly what they told you to do.
Yeah, I was doing everything. I had my spreadsheet of my workouts, and I'm like, there's no way. There's no way. They're saying it's a 6-week recovery, and I'm on week 12, and I'm still feeling terrible. And then I got more MRIs, more PRP shots, more steroid injections. And then finally, another phone call from a doctor saying that, no, we're going to need to do an adductor release, another surgery. So at this point, I'm like, okay, there goes the 2018 USL season. No way I'm going to get a contract now. And the NASL had just folded, so there's like even less teams.
Less jobs, wow. Yeah.
So I was like, I'm done. Like, this is going to be a miracle if I get another contract after this. But I go through the surgery. I'm just rehabbing, trying to, you know, take it day by day, not really focusing on that I'm in free agency now and that season's starting up. I'm seeing my teammates and friends start training with new clubs or whatever. And then I just out of the blue get an email from actually a subscriber from YouTube from New Zealand who pretty much just says, I'm down in New Zealand. I have some contacts. Like, would you want me to just kind of like share your video and share your CV with these teams and see what happens? And I kind of said, yeah, sure. Why not?
Well, I didn't know it came from that. That's amazing.
Yeah. So then just a random, like basically got like, this team down here, Waterside Karori, is actually in need of a center back or right back. So that could be great. And then it kind of like led to a contract. Yeah.
Wow. Unbelievable. So then briefly talk about New Zealand, and another amazing experience it must have been. Somewhere I want to visit. How was that? Because I know a lot of people said, oh, you know, he's gone to semi-professional level, he's never going to get back to the USL. And there was some kind of maybe negative connotation to you going there. I know that you would have been focused on your goal anyway and believed in yourself through that, but how was it going there and adapting and hearing some of them? Did it affect you at all?
Yeah, it was definitely tough. Like I remembered my main goal was like, I just want to be able to play and run and sprint and train without pain. Because it's been now
Right.
9 months where I've just had constant pain. Even longer if you consider all the ankle sprains, the dislocated toe, all that stuff, patellar tendonitis. So I had been in pain pretty much every single day, training or running or doing whatever for the last year and a half at that point. And I just wanted to see if I could get my body to play where I could just, without even overthinking it, without pain. So that was my main goal. And so I just thought, oh, I can go down there. I have, you know, basically in rehab, I get a trainer down there. Tim Dowman was amazing. And I just went down there. I was like, I new experience. I can figure it out. I can get some games in my belt and not just be a free agent for another year. So I did that. It worked out. And I told the team that too in New Zealand. I said, look, I'm not looking to make a career down here. It's a bounce back. You know, you got this team had just popped up to the first division of the Winter League, so which is technically even the second division, but it was like they just had moved up to this top division and they were trying to stay there. And they said, look, we're going to use you and you use us. We're going to use you to try to solidify us to maintain that.
So it was a good relationship. You kind of both understood where you were at in your career,
Exactly.
But that's awesome.
Yeah.
And it worked out for you. Ultimately, it worked out, didn't it?
Yeah, and it definitely was very tough to like, because I was doubting it. I never knew, like, because once you get to the pro level, you realize how tough it is to even get a trial sometimes, or how tough it is to even go through this. So I knew I had experienced how tough it was. So I was even doubting, like, okay, if I can get my body even back healthy, am I going to even get another trial now? And so I was doubting a little bit. And then to read a little bit comments of like, oh, your career's over, you never will play again. This is the biggest mistake of your life to come down there. It definitely kind of like made my own doubts a little bit worse, but I kept on saying like, well, we'll see. Like, we'll see. I had a video where I literally said like, I believe that I'm at the professional level and that I will get back there, but we'll see. And so basically after the season ended, I said goodbye to New Zealand. I basically thanked them. We stayed up in the league, so it was mutually beneficial. And I went straight back to America, and then I immediately just started sending out the same thing, the grinding of emails, phone calls, texting old teammates to see where I could get a trial to come to Spain, just so I could even train 5 days a week again with a team. And again, actually, Ivan Mirkovic, he basically said, yeah, come on into Tulsa. We are pretty much,
Man, this guy's pretty much molded your whole career.
I know. We joke about it all the time. Like, he's saved my career. And so he basically said, yeah, come on in. We're not doing too well this season, so we're just looking to get some practice players in here anyway. So I stayed there for five weeks. Just again got super fit, trained every single day, and also just show the coach like, hey, if you need a right back for next year, I'm here as well.
Yeah. So here's a question for you: how did it feel versus your first professional contract coming back and actually getting signed by Tulsa? Was it a better feeling? Was it more of a, I've shown everybody now I can come back from something that could have broke you and something where you could have been like, F this, I'm not going to play anymore, to actually signing a contract after coming back from New Zealand? Did it feel sweeter?
Yeah, honestly, that contract, signing for the Roughnecks in that last year, 2019, was my favorite contract. And it's funny, that was one where my mom cried. The first one, she was just excited.
Wow. But she knew what you'd been through, that's why.
Yeah. So it's kind of, and that's how I felt too. Like that, I was definitely the most emotional for that one. The most like, wow, I can't believe it. But yeah, that definitely was the best contract and the best, just the best feeling around it. Just because it's like what you said, you've gone through a lot now, and it's nice to prove it to yourself and also a little bit to everybody else.
Everyone else, exactly. Yeah. But you deserved it, man. That was when when I came out and we were training and playing, and I remember how, just happy you were to have accomplished that, and you deserve it, man.
Yeah,
no one can tell you
I remember those off-season trainings were so great too. Those were so much fun, like just working. Yeah. But I also remember too, at the back of my head, I'm like, man, I hope this works out, or else, or else all these videotapes and all these YouTube videos are kind of for nothing if I can't get a contract this year.
No, but you did, and you deserved it. Right. So let's just quickly talk about how Tulsa's been so far. Then we'll go on to kind of what your goals are for after your career and become elite. And then we'll try and get some questions in. There's loads of questions, and I know it's only going to give us another 15 minutes. So let's try
I did Instagram live the other day, and I went on for like an hour and 20.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It tells me when I get to like 58 minutes, it says a minute left.
It still does that for you?
Yeah. Maybe you're just a big time Instagram artist. We'll see. We'll go right up to it and see if it says it, but we could talk all day. So it's like,
well, I'll go quickly on this. Basically, Tulsa was awesome. Again, I had my second sports hernia right when I got back, first game of the season of 2019. But again, I mean, my whole mentality was like, no, it's fine. I'll be back. Like, just whatever. Right. Another surgery, no big deal. Got back, and then started in every single game for the rest of the season once I was back.
Yeah.
So again, I felt like that was probably my most successful season because I had the most games played. I thought I was playing the best soccer of my life, and finally, especially towards that end of the season, I was playing completely pain-free, 100% pain-free.
Which is the best thing.
So, and that was like 2 years of constant pain, and I was finally playing now without any pain at all. So that was the main thing that I was happy about.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, so we're up to today now. You've got just rebranded to FC Tulsa. Hopefully you guys can get back and play pretty soon. I'm sure you're going in for the right back position again this season. Let's a little bit talk about become elite. Obviously, I know that you've thought about your career's not going to last too much longer. Hopefully 3 more seasons, 2, 3, 4 more seasons, maybe. What are your goals after it's over? You hang the boots up for become elite and for yourself, kind of.
Yeah. I actually have a lot of these talks because like I know like even for me, I have even goals like not even just like with business, but even just like family goals. Like Mimi and I want to get married. We want to have kids. Like I'm tired of kind of like both of us are kind of tired of bouncing around a lot. If I was on a 5-year contract at Arsenal, it'd probably be different. But 9-month contracts bouncing around the USL is it's definitely like I love it, but I've recognized that. You know, I definitely want to have a future both with my family and with business. But that was pretty much the whole thing with Become Elite.
Sorry.
What was that?
I was just saying it has a shelf life. You know, the USL career has a shelf life that it's not that long.
Definitely. So I want to enjoy it now, and I think it makes it better that I kind of have a little bit of a time limit on it. But yeah, so I definitely kind of like even at the start, right as soon as I was playing with Sacramento and I was seeing what guys were making and I was seeing their future after seeing guys already kind of retire at that point, I was like, I need to start even thinking about my backup plan, whether that's to go back to school or what. And I said, well, I think ideally my main thing would be a coach, personal trainer, nutrition coach, and to work with kids in my own facility, have that. And I thought, well, how can I work towards that now as I chase my pro contract? And I thought, well, if I build a following, an audience that follows me for my nutrition, my coaching, and my playing, maybe I can kind of like transfer that audience to my business afterwards. So that was like what sparked it. And it like I didn't realize it would kind of like grow this quickly or this big. But so I kind of like transitioned from like coaching and drills to more of like, oh, here's my life now. And I'm sure once I'm done, it will transition back into coaching. And, you know, the same things that you're doing, like the one-on-one, the training, showing like, you know, more educational versus just like, here's me, you know?
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. Just kind of like trying to educate. And I saw you just got your NASM certification. Congrats. So that's another step towards doing that, you know? Yeah.
Again, it's just like, I always been looking at like, how can I make that? I always have that end vision of like, I want that. How can I just like work with that? Yeah.
Awesome, man. Okay, one last question from me, and then we'll open it up to the floor. What's the best advice you've been given from somebody? Could be family member or someone in the game. And what's your best advice for anyone watching and any young player out there?
I think the best advice like I ever got probably is from like my mom and my dad. And I think that came from when I was 16. I didn't even stop talking about this, but when I was like 16, I made the B team for like the 3rd year in a row on my club team. It's not even a development academy team. This is a local Portland club team, you know, so it's not even. And I made the B team, and I had these ambitions of like, maybe I do want to play college soccer, but I'm like making the B team in my local club. And so like, again, it was like one of those like times I got the phone call and I thought I was like right at the level to play on the A team. And all my friends on the A team were telling me I should be up there. I got that phone call and pretty much just like, like you're on the B team again. And I told my mom and dad, like, I'm going to quit. Like, this is bull. Like, what? This sucks. Like, why am I doing all this work and working out every single day for this? And my
Yeah.
mom and dad both kind of just said, like, look, like anything in life, it's opinions, a job, work, like wherever, anything, it's opinions. And yes, you could be the best you can to try to sway the most amount of opinions. But again, you could be the best person and still someone's just not going to like you or like your play or whatever. And so they just told me, like, look, just because this coach doesn't like you, this coach at Westside Metros doesn't like you, doesn't mean a D1 is going to like you. You can't be delusional about it. I'm not like going and knocking on like a Premier League team and be like, why don't you sign me?
Right.
But yeah, I think that like that's the best advice. And my advice to everybody else is kind of like the same thing almost.
Yeah.
Of like, look, like it really is, be realistic about your own play and really gauge yourself and work on the baby steps. But you know, if you have to have a setback, or if somebody's telling you that you can't play at this level, you know, get more opinions and keep on working, because you never know. You know, one person that tells you you're never going to become a pro, they don't know. They don't know at all.
Absolutely.
You know?
I mean, and you're a living example, not to get bitter, but to improve yourself and get better. And like you said, you were 16 years old on a B team. So for anyone watching that's asking, you know, I'm 16, I'm 17, I'm not anywhere near it. Can you achieve it? Yes, you can achieve it. Just, you know, you have the journey that says that.
Yeah.
All right, man, let's try and open the floor up. There's going to be a bunch of comments on the screen. If you want to like swipe through them, pick some that, you know, you think would be helpful to the audience.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen Mimi commented? This is why you're not texting me back.
yeah, I saw that.
I just saw it. And then I've got 37 that are in this little box here. But you can, if you find one, go ahead.
All right. I think this one's pretty good. What skills are you lacking to the Premier League? I think that like real quick, I think that just to sum up, it's not like a very like a certain skill, but it's just like the consistency. I mean, you look at these players, like the best players everywhere. They're just like, not only can they hit a long ball or a great shot or be consistent, but like it's every single day, and they're doing that every single day. And it's also a ladder. Like very rarely you're going to go from the USL to the Premier League.
Yeah,
they've had very successful years after year after year after year, and slowly build up. I mean, sure, you get people that just have huge jumps. From the majority of the part, it's every single year they perform, and maybe get like lucky with in terms of injuries or in terms of, you know, one coach really seeing potential in them or whatever. But it's the consistency over year and year and year. And also, I mean, I think for myself too, it'd be great to have focused on soccer and to start doing everything I'm doing now even earlier, because I definitely played basketball and baseball and lacrosse and all that.
Right. There's a little bit of a stem off that, which I had from earlier. At what age did you really start to think about body, mind, and soul, like nutrition and everything? What age did you start to really, you know, doing that stuff and be interested in it?
I think 14 was when I was like, I'm going to look at the nutrition in the body and everything. But I think that was more even just for like, I want to look like the perfect ideal soccer player, you know?
Yeah.
Like, completely vain. It was just all like I wanted to look.
Not actually how it would help you, just for like a vain thing. But then it became something that really helped you in your career.
Exactly. So I mean, the reason why I started and the reason why I was so addicted to it, because it was all vain. I just wanted to look good, and I wanted to be on the field, and I wanted people to go, "Wow, damn, this guy looks really strong and athletic," you know. But I got obsessed with it, and I learned, and I found how much better it can really help me. And then I really realized, I think it really flipped the switch of like, now this is more so for my body and my game. I think around 21 in college, when I was like, I want to be a pro now. Like, I'm going to make that jump. I can't let anything slide. I'm going to give this my best effort. And so all the workouts, everything in the gym, I was even working out so that I could become a better player instead of just like looking good, you know?
Right. Which is what it's about. Here's a quick one. What's the best player you've played against?
Yeah, probably Kaka.
It's got to be, huh?
Yeah, it gotta be.
How do you maintain your confidence? We've kind of touched on this. How do you keep your confidence when you make a mistake in a game?
Yeah, I think it's like we said. Like, I think a lot of self-talk. So not only going through those games where you lose it or your team. Like, I think you need to go through one of those games where you're the reason why your team loses or doesn't win. You know, just so you can go through that mental toughness. But I think self-talk is huge for me. I had one game online where against Sacramento where the first 5 minutes was just shocking. It was the worst pro game I've ever had. Every single touch, terrible. But I just kept on telling myself, I kept on literally in my head, like, you're fine. Don't worry. Next play, play simple. You'll get through this, don't freak out. Just keep playing. And it really does work.
It's important. Self-talk's so important. So important. All right, let me keep looking. I think I can see these ones which people have added, but you can't see these ones. You can only see the ones that are on the in the comments. Let me try and find a good. I think the good ones are where you're looking. These ones are kind of repeated ones that we've gone over. Someone said, "I'm 16, don't play in an academy. Can I still be a pro?" We touched on that.
Just a bit.
Yeah, I'm 14. I'm deciding I want to go pro. Is it too late? No, it's not too late. Best advice for a right back. What are the key qualities I need to possess? That's a good one.
I think so. I actually just I had a good little epiphany about this. I think that especially when it comes to position, it's more even about how you're going to put your best attributes in the position. That's obviously as a right back, you need to cross, you need to do a lot of the normal stuff, building from the back, getting up the field when you have to. But I think personally, when it comes to position, if you look at the striker, I mean, Lukaku plays very, very different than Firmino, It's very, very different. And it's just it's looking at yourself as a player and being okay, I need to score goals, or I need to get in crosses, or I need to defend. How am I going to do this based on my body? If you're Van Dijk, you can play very differently than somebody completely a smaller defender,
So you're just maximizing yourself.
Yeah.
Don't for other players.
Yeah. So for me, I love watching Kyle Walker. I think I can take a lot of stuff from his game, but I don't. And I look at Marcelo and I try to replicate some parts from his game, but I know it's look, me and Marcelo are very different players,
Yeah. That's awesome. No, that's a really good way of looking at it. A different way of looking at it, maybe. But I like that. I like that. Here's one for both. What made you guys start your pages on YouTube and Instagram? The reason I started was just to help, to give the players out there something I wish I had when I was growing up, somebody they can kind of talk to, give them information about the game, just to try and help the youth and be positive, be a positive light in people's lives, that some people don't have in a home environment.
Yeah, your content that you've been putting out lately has been sick.
It's changed up a little bit, but it's just I think it's a little bit more simple than the stuff I was putting out before. It's less kind of words. It's a bit more direct.
Yeah.
I feel like people resonate with that maybe a bit better, even though it might not get shared as much. I feel like that really is. And again, people are always asking me as well about Instagram and about, I'm sure you as well, how do I get light? Don't worry about that. Post stuff that is helpful to the audience. It's all about value over anything else. And if you do that consistently over a long period of time, people will resonate with that and they'll follow your account.
Yeah. But it's been awesome.
Appreciate that.
Even the full graphic design of it's so cool.
I'm interested in that. I'm interested in the user interface and the design, and I like doing that in my own kind of way where I can still help. Okay, let's see. There's so many questions. Let's try and get a couple. We talked about
a lot of people always ask about certain leagues, what are my opinion on it, and most of the time,
why is the man in the EPL?
I always think with different leagues, people are always have you thought about playing in India? Have you thought about doing this? Have you thought when you realize that it really is more built on connections and built on who can give you that help, foot in the door, get you a trial, and less about oh, you know what, I think I'm going to play in India today, and then going over there.
Right. Okay, I found a good question from Maddie Wright. What aspects of the game did you focus on the most as a teenager, and what aspects do you believe are the most important for teenagers to develop?
So I think when I was a teenager, I focused the most on my body, the physical performance, fitness, getting a good soccer physique, and as well as just the individual technical side. And I think I did that because I was at home and I was in the I was crazy out in the suburbs of Portland, no friends around me at all. So it was just myself and my brother. So we did tons of 1v1s, a ton of juggling, and a ton of stuff in our yard and in our garage. Now, I think going back, if I could go, and I mean, it's hard to do because I didn't have an academy or anything, but I think it would be great to go, play more rondos, do more tiki-taka, small space possession games, play more small-sided 3v3, 5v5 futsal, But it's hard to tell that kid out there in Portland because it was just me and my brother. But
right.
But I think you should focus on. I think there's like the individual training and the workouts and all that stuff, the small-sided creativity, futsal type stuff, as well as your team trainings and learning the tactical side of the game.
So it's doing like the whole picture. Do the individual stuff, work yourself in the gym, focus on all the different aspects of the game while really honing in on what you're good at as well. I think is important to say.
Yeah, and it's exactly what you said for like being a technical trainer. Like you have your team trainings to go to, learn the tactical side, play the game. But now you're going to work on all those passing combinations and all the great stuff that you've put me through. So I think it's like the same thing. Like you need both, you know?
Yeah, you do. And there's a place for all of it. There's a place for the mental training. There's a place for team training. There's a place for technical training. There's a place for all of it. So it's just like, can you get as best of a big picture of it as you can into your game? It's only going to make you better. I think important to touch on as well is how important it is for players to start learning to communicate a bit better with each other, with coaches. That's so important. A thing that people miss. You've got to be able to communicate well. Express your feelings well, know how different people receive information as a player. Not only, you have to know that. So that's good to touch on as well.
Yeah, even from my parents, I really respect about my parents, not at the time, but now, is like if I had a problem with the coach about playing time or whatever, they never would talk to the coach. They're like, if you don't like that you're not playing, go talk to him after training. And my dad would be up there, watching me. He'd be like, go talk to him.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Yeah, wait till all my teammates left and go up to coach and be like, hey, coach, I'm just wondering, I think I've been doing really well at trainings. Why am I not? I only got like 20 minutes in the game. But that helped me grow. So it was so uncomfortable. But
how many players are doing that at a young age? Not many.
Yeah. So
they'll go home. Oh, I didn't play today, Dad. I'm leaving this team. So that's the mentality to have. Have some maturity. Go to the coach and ask.
Yeah.
Here's a good one. Why did you pick your jersey number? I think he's talking about 13.
Oh, yeah. My mom was born on Friday the 13th. So
my dad was too. That's nice.
Really?
Yeah, Friday the 13th, May.
That's funny. Yeah, so, and then it's always had like this little kind of like ongoing joke with myself, like unlucky things are lucky for me. Like I remember right before the San Jose Earthquake U23 trials, I was literally walking into the field and a black cat just skirted right across me.
No way.
Yeah, and then I had the best trial and I got picked. But it's just like, so it always like, it's probably a little bit of confirmation bias, but those unlucky things are kind of like, I just view them as lucky. So I've always, from I'd say senior year on, always been number 13.
Nice. Maybe a superstition that, doesn't obviously stick to you. I like that. It's not kicked us off. We've been an hour, so maybe we can answer a few more questions if you got time.
Yeah, that's funny. So did you get that like on your last Instagram live as well?
Yeah. It would say, oh no, look, 2 minutes remaining. See?
Oh, okay.
Off the screen. So we've got 2 minutes. Let's see if we can find some more. And I just want to quickly thank you, Matt, for coming on and for giving me the time to speak to you and hearing your journey. It's I think your journey is one that's really, really something that people can resonate with and understand that nothing's handed to you in this game. There's no real loyalty in this game, and you've got to be so driven to get to your goals and never lose sight of that.
Yeah, no,
So
I appreciate that. It means a lot. It's awesome. Yeah, it's awesome to come on as well. So thank you for having me up on the Instagram live.
Yeah, of course, man. All right, let's see if we got any more we can find. There's a few Premier League questions. All right, here we go. There's so many in this little box I've got. Let me see if I can find some good ones. A minute remaining. How many days would you say to let the body rest? And obviously this depends on the player, but what's your opinion? I always get this question. I'm training every single day. Should I have a rest day?
Most teams that do one off day a week, maybe you'll get two, but I think that's a pretty good thing. I mean, in off season, I'll usually maybe go like 4 days on, 1 day off, 4 days on, 1 day off. But yeah, I think like 1 or 2 times a week. But again, like you just said, listen to the body.
Yeah, listen to the body. If you're struggling 1 week, take an extra day or do something lighter in your sessions. All right, Matt, we'll finish it there, bro. Thanks so much, bro.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. This was great.
Yeah, man, we'll stay in touch and keep me posted on how it all develops with the USL stuff.
Sounds great. Best of luck over there in California.
Take care, man. Appreciate you.
Yeah.